I gave every college football team one of their GOATs, and today we're going to simulate their sophomore seasons and see how it changes the college football landscape. So since I will be using Alabama again for this sophomore season, I will not be controlling the recruiting. I'm going to do auto recruiting, and that way I don't bring in the number one class again, which with that method I shared with you guys, I believe I could do that. But one thing we want to look at right now is the transfer portal. We want to see which of the guys transferred. I see a guy right now that's Roddy White, former Atlanta Falcon great, and he helped UAB to top 25 ranking last year, but he's decided he wants to transfer to Clemson. There was actually 9 created players that transferred that I could find. Kevin Byard transferred from Middle Tennessee to LSU. Barry Sanders has transferred from Oklahoma State to Penn State. Eric Dickerson transfers from SMU to the U. Aaron Donald, I can see he's the next one, transferring from Pittsburgh. He's going to Notre Dame. And then the one guy we did go after was Max Crosby from Eastern Michigan. Wish he would have stayed at Eastern Michigan, but he wanted to come to Alabama, and so we took him. Otto Graham, he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. He went to Northwestern, and he transferred to Penn State. So Penn State got Otto Graham and Barry Sanders to add to Micah Parsons at linebacker. Jalen Ramsey transferred from Florida State and went to Georgia. And then the number one transfer portal recruit was Marshall Faulk from San Diego State. Poor San Diego State. That was their chance. He transfers to Notre Dame. So Notre Dame has someone on offense now to go with that stacked defense. Let's take a look at the preseason first team and second team All-Americans at quarterback. Otto Graham, and you may ask why he is a redshirt freshman. At Northwestern, I had no user control over that school, and they must have decided to redshirt him. Barry Sanders, Derrick Henry. I apologize for the faces. Most of them I tried to get their height and weights correct. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Justin Jefferson. Does anyone remember Megatron, Rob Gronkowski, Joe Staley, the longtime 49er great, Aiden Hutchinson, Max Crosby, and Dominic Sue, Aaron Donald, Micah Parsons, Ray Lewis, TJ Watt, Jalen Rams, now at Georgia, preseason second team, Matthew Stafford, Marshall Faulk, now at Notre Dame, Eric Dickerson, now at Miami, Dorial Green Beckham at Missouri, DK Metcalf at Ole Miss, Stephon Diggs, Maryland, George Kittle at Iowa, guy by the name of Reggie White for Tennessee, Myles Garrett at Oliver, and Joe Green at North Texas, Khalil Mack, Buffalo, Manti Te'o at Notre Dame, Josh Hines-Allen at Kentucky, Jesse Bates from Wake Forest. So in the preseason Heisman Trophy speculation, I guess, it looks similar to last year. Donovan McNabb, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, Jared Goff, but Baker Mayfield is in there. So with the great game against Stanford, Patrick Mahomes finds his way into the top 5 of the Heisman Watch. Auburn in a little bit of a shocker over Baylor. We'll go one more week. The Heisman Watch is all changed. Mahomes is at number 1. Barry Sanders is at number 2. Cam Newton has moved to 3. D. Dallas, great quarterback from Air Force, is 4th. And Otto Graham is 5th. Let's check out the top 25 real quick. No real movement here. Oregon fell, of course. Texas A&M lost to Arizona State, so they fell from 7 to 22. Oklahoma lost to number 8 Michigan, so they fell from 19 to 24. Let's move ahead a few weeks to see how the top 25 is shaking out and how the Heisman standings are shaking out. CJ Stroud has ascended to number 1. Patrick Mahomes has fallen to number 2. Jordan Love is at 3. Brett Favre is at 4. Malik Willis is at 5. Looks like Ohio State, Penn State, and Alabama are still locked in there in the top 3. Georgia, Notre Dame, Texas Tech has moved up to 6. Georgia Tech has moved into the top 10 with Calvin Johnson. Oregon Auburn, Nebraska lost to Ohio State. Va-Tech is in the top 12 now. Clemson has fallen after losing to Va-Tech. Michigan fell after a loss to UCLA. Boston College again in the top 20. And Florida Atlantic just lost to Texas A&M 14-10, so they slid to 21. They're still in the top 25 somehow. I guess it was UAB that was in the top 25 last year, and they're still in the top 25. So we're in week 7. Let's check out the Heisman watch. Jordan Love is locked in right now at number 1. Mahomes at number 2. Malik Willis from Liberty's moved up from 5 to 4. And then we have a newcomer to the list, Mr. Drew Brees. So not too much movement in the top 3. Va-Tech and Michael Vick is top 12. Love him or hate him, he was one of the most electrifying players to ever play the college game. Georgia Tech got up to 5 and fell to 15. New Mexico State is outplaying themselves. They are 17th right now. Liberty has jumped into the top 25. Texas A&M and Florida have. All right, let's move forward a few weeks. We're at week 9. Jordan Love and Mahomes at the top still. Robert Griffin III has moved up. A guy by the name of Matthew Stafford, quarterback for Georgia, has moved into the top 5. So Penn State and Georgia are top the rankings at 1 and 2. Oregon is 3, Notre Dame 4, Auburn 5. Va-Tech has moved up all the way to 6. Alabama has fallen to 7. TCU is in the top 25. Ohio State, Clemson, Syracuse is in there. Baylor fell after a loss. Georgia Tech keeps moving up. Liberty's moved up. Some newcomers to the top 25. Texas, Pittsburgh, UAB's back. USC's back. Arizona State's in. Let's go ahead and advance few weeks. Standards that have been in there: Mahomes, Griffin, Stafford, Love, Favre. Pretty impressive for Love and Favre at Utah State and Southern Miss, who I don't think have been ranked all season. I have 2 guys in the top 5. No real change in the top 5 or so. Virginia Tech had gotten up to 3. They fell to 6. Auburn's moving up. Syracuse is moving up. Baylor, Nebraska back in the hunt. Boston College went from not ranked all the way up to 13. That's impressive. TCU fell 5 spots. Cincinnati moved up. Travis Kelce in Cincinnati. Florida and Penn State take some tumbles. Newcomers this week to the top 25 is Utah. New Mexico State is back in the top 25. Calvin Johnson and Georgia Tech are back in. UTSA makes an appearance. Mississippi State is about to fall out. As of today, Cincinnati would be top 4 seed. Syracuse would be a top 4 seed as well. And this watch list is just chock full of college greats. Right here, Mahomes must be doing something special. Aaron Donald, the transfer from Pittsburgh to Notre Dame, is tearing it up. Ed Oliver is 3rd. Khalil Mack is 4th. You see Max Crosby in there. Reggie White, TJ Watt. We'll just glance at these. Best defensive back transfer, Jalen Ramsey from Florida State to Georgia. Best running back, Marshall Faulk. You'll notice at number 3, Aaron Jones from the University of Texas at El Paso, longtime Green Bay Packer. And yes, you see it right. Ray Rice is at 8. Roddy White, the UAB transfer, is showing off at 4. Calvin Johnson at 8. Aaron Donald in line for the Lombardi. George Kittle, Rob Gronkowski, I see in there for top tight end. Khalil Mack is in line for the top linebacker award. See Brian Urlacher in there for New Mexico, as I do Josh Hines Allen from Kentucky. Randy Moss at Marshall, returning kicks. Let's move forward a few more weeks. A little shifting in the Heisman Trophy race. So RG3 entrenched over the last 3 weeks or so at 1. Stafford is entrenched at 2. Favre is at 3rd. Mahomes and Jordan Love. Let's see how the top 25 is shaking out. Alabama's moved to number 1. Georgia fell after a loss to Oklahoma. Liberty moved up a lot with a huge victory over New Mexico State. Va-Tech fell after a close loss to NC State. UTSA is sneaking up. Middle Tennessee State, oh, that should be a good game. They're number 20 and they face number 10 Liberty. Penn State with the loss. They've fallen down. Washington, USC, Boston College, and Stanford and Christian McCaffrey leading a resurgence at Stanford, it looks like. So the updated top 12, if you will, as Ohio State, Miami, Georgia, and Baylor in the top 4. Less surprise teams in the bottom 8, if you will, with Va-Tech coming in at 12 and Liberty at 10. If Liberty loses to Middle Tennessee State this week, though, they'll be out, and probably another big school will be in. Okay, Heisman watch. Robert Griffin III. Lamar Jackson has moved all the way up to number 2. And then the regular guys that have been in there, Brett Favre, Matthew Stafford, and Patrick Mahomes. Liberty did beat Middle Tennessee State, but I guess they face in the conference championship New Mexico State, who's 23rd. So those who dropped out were Penn State, Cincinnati, UTSA, USC, and Boston College. So Liberty is in as a top 4 school. Alabama, Baylor, Ohio State are your top 3 schools. And then you do have Iowa State at 12. You have Florida and Tim Tebow at 9. You've got Alex Smith in Utah at 11. Donovan McNabb at Syracuse at 10. Kind of your old standards. All right, let's simulate the last week of the regular season. Let's look at the Heisman finalists. Robert Griffin III is entrenched at number 1. Matthew Stafford is at number 2 for number 1 Georgia. Brett Favre is at 3. CJ Stroud is at 4. Lamar Jackson is at 5. Wow. So Liberty beats New Mexico State 43-40 in a barn burner. Number 8 team will probably solidify their spot in the final 12, if you will. And it'll knock New Mexico State out of the top 25 probably and ruin any chance they have of getting into the top 12. Ben Roethlisberger helps Miami of Ohio beat Central Michigan for the MAC championship. Roethlisberger, 238 yards passing, 1 TD. Baylor just annihilates Cincinnati. Southern Miss beat Appalachian State. And that's quite a turnaround for Southern Miss. Brett Favre, 276 yards passing, 2 TDs, 21 of 26 passing. Tulsa beats UTSA, 31-21, is ranked 22nd. Tulsa's big play guy is none other than Steve Largent. Hawaii beat Boise State. Kellen Moore helped Boise. Timmy Chang threw for 411 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 52 attempts. And then Stanford beat Syracuse 33-21 in the ACC championship, I believe. Mr. Christian McCaffrey had 17 carries, 114 yards, 2 TDs. Let's real quick look at Diego Pavia and Malik Willis. Malik Willis, 248 yards passing, 3 TDs. Diego Pavia, 372 yards passing, 4 TDs, 1 interception. So Stanford finds their way into the top 12, it looks like. Middle Tennessee, so close at 19. They're just going to miss the playoffs, it looks like. This is Tulsa, New Mexico State. Matthew Stafford from Georgia, 4,000 yards passing, 45 TDs. Only 2 interceptions. Is the 2026 Heisman Trophy winner, first team All-American, Robert Griffin III. Marshall Faulk, Aaron Jones from UTEP, Joe Staley from Central Michigan, Aiden Hutchinson at right end this year, Jason Pierre-Paul, Mean Joe Green makes it again, Ed Oliver alongside him. From Houston, Micah Parsons, Ray Lewis, TJ Watt made it, Charvarius Ward, Jesse Bates from Wake Forest, now the second team, Brett Favre, Eric Dickerson, the transfer from SMU to Miami, is the second team All-American, Bijan Robinson, Calvin Johnson, George Kittle, Jason Taylor, again on the All-American list, Max Crosby, a former MAC guy himself, Dominic Sue, Aaron Donald, the transfer from Pittsburgh, Leo Mack, Fred Warner, Josh Hines Allen, Jalen Ramsey, now the freshman All-American, Favre, Bijan, Ladanian, Calvin Johnson. And as I shared with you guys, these guys were redshirted for no reason other than CPU stupidity. Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, Joe Staley, Reggie White, the Minister of Defense, Jason Pierre-Paul, Oliver, Donald, Mack, Warner, Watt, Bates. Let's look at the conference standings real quick. The ACC, Syracuse finished first over Stanford and Miami. The American Conference, UTSA. The Big 12, Baylor with Cincinnati, TCU, and Utah. Big 10, Ohio State and Oregon were atop that, with Nebraska, Maryland, and Michigan coming in behind. Disappointing season for Penn State, who had 2 transfers in Otto Graham and Barry Sanders. Conference USA, Liberty won that, and Aaron Jones helped UTEP to 6 victories, which, if you've seen UTEP in the last couple of years, that's pretty incredible. FBS Independence, Notre Dame, 12-0. The MAC Conference, Ben Roethlisberger and Joe Staley led their teams to 6-2 records in their conference. Mountain West Conference, Boise State won the conference. Hawaii and UNLV coming in. I don't really know what to say about Pac-2, but Washington State won that. Georgia and Alabama finished at 7-1. Florida finished 6-2 in conference. The Sun Belt, Southern Miss, and Appalachian State and Louisiana all tied for first, but I believe Southern Miss won. Now, we were kind of wondering at the beginning of this program about Brock Purdy. He threw for 2,600 yards, 19 TDs, 2 interceptions. Check out Julian Edelman at Kent State. Wow, he had 3,000 yards passing, 24 TDs, 6 INTs, 663 yards rushing. Check out Lamar Jackson at Louisville. Wow, what a season. 3,200 passing yards, 41 TD, and 1 INT. Dickerson had close to 1,500 yards rushing, 9.6 yards per carry, 17 touchdowns. Penn State, Barry Sanders with 1,629 yards, 8.1 yards per carry, 7 touchdowns. Otto Graham, the old-time quarterback, 2,500 yards passing, 18 TDs, and 2 interceptions. Jordan Love, close to 3,000 yards passing, 29 TDs, 0 picks, 743 yards rushing, 8 TDs. Check out one more guy, Aaron Jones. 1,454 yards rushing for 7 yards per carry, 17 TDs. One last guy, Patrick Mahomes. 3,700 yards passing, 37 TDs, 3 picks, 636 yards rushing, 6 TDs. So Alex Smith for Utah just ran in a touchdown for the Utes to bring it to 38-16. This game got out of hand quickly. There's an onside kick by Utah, which Alabama recovers. Alabama continues to run a 2 running back set with Derrick Henry as one of the 2 running backs. He did score a touchdown, but I don't know how many yards he's had because they have split so many carries and Alabama throws quite a bit. There's another interception by Alex Smith. He's had to have 5 turnovers just in the 4th quarter alone. As the game started to unravel, Utah got out of their game. Alex Smith just started to throw pick after pick, and Alabama had good field position and scored touchdowns. There goes Derrick Henry. He has 83 yards rushing on the day on 10 carries, but 21 points for Alabama in the 4th quarter to put this one away. Max Crosby had 13 tackles at his right end spot. He had 8 tackles for loss. Alex Smith rushed the ball 25 times, only gained 28 yards, 33 of 50, 250 yards passing, no touchdowns, and 5 picks. And I'm almost sure all of those were in the 4th quarter. So Christian McCaffrey taken down there by Manti Te'o. This game is clearly in favor of Notre Dame, and it looks like the Fighting Irish will continue on. I do have to say, for Stanford fans and Christian McCaffrey fans, that my 2 plays of the day are by him, though there was a blocked punt when Stanford was punting. Notre Dame blocked their punt and ran it back all the way for a touchdown. There was also a pick 6 of the Stanford quarterback, and he ran it back all the way for a touchdown. And on both plays, I just saw someone come out of nowhere and flying in white, and it was Christian McCaffrey in his white Stanford uniform doing everything he could to chase down the guys that were about to score the touchdown, and he caught both guys at about the 1 yard line or the end zone line and tackled him. I thought, man, that's Christian McCaffrey for you. Notre Dame, on the other hand, has Aaron Donald at defensive tackle, Manti Te'o, one of the greatest guys around and a heck of a football player at Notre Dame. That's for sure. Marshall Faulk also transferred to Notre Dame, and with their line, he took advantage of it. He had at least 2 touchdowns. So that's it. Notre Dame beat Stanford 61-33. Marshall Faulk, 231 yards on 45 carries and 3 TDs. Manti Te'o had 16 total tackles, 3 tackles for loss. Aaron Donald with 4 tackles for loss. Christian McCaffrey struggled, 18 carries, 63 yards, 3.5 yards per carry. He did have 7 catches for 97 yards. So it looked early like Oregon was going to take this one, and Florida made a furious comeback. Oregon has just chipped away at that comeback to make it a 13-point lead. Tim Tebow's line is not what it was when he played at Florida, and they failed to protect him. I believe the Florida offensive line gave up 10 sacks, but Oregon now will get the clinching touchdown, it looks like. Herbert's played a pretty good game, but he did throw 3 picks. I don't know why Oregon's going for 2, but they are, and they don't make it. There's Tebow. Looks just like Tim Tebow. I would say Tim Tebow's inability to throw the deep pass has hurt Florida extremely. Every deep throw I've seen him throw has been short or like that, where an Oregon defender got up and knocked it down. So Florida's just going to concede here and punt. So Oregon will move on. Justin Herbert, as I said, had 3 picks, 5 TD passes though. And Tebow, 29 of 46, 299 yards, 4 TDs and 3 picks. And he had negative 33 yards, mainly because of the sack. Michigan is seemingly in control of this game. Iowa State will begin to use their timeouts. Michigan up 29-24, another first down, and the game will be over. And that's exactly what they needed. They should just be able to kneel it out. So Iowa State and Brock Purdy, they will go home. So 12 total tackles. Aiden Hutchinson with 14 led the Wolverines. He also had 4 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks. Brock Purdy was 30 of 43, 383 yards passing, 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. This game has close to 8 minutes left in the 4th quarter, and it is over. Notre Dame is up 51-9. If I remember right, Notre Dame's put up 28 or 38 unanswered points. I believe they did all that in the 3rd quarter. So it was close at half, and then Notre Dame just took over. Liberty is just offensively and defensively unable to stop Notre Dame. So Notre Dame will move on to the next round. Look at Marshall Faulk. 7.6 yards per carry, and then 7 catches for 72 yards and 2 TDs. Aaron Donald with 10 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, and 2.5 sacks. So Notre Dame will go on to play the winner of Oregon and Georgia. So the defending national champions, the Oregon Ducks, are going back and forth with the number 1 Georgia Bulldogs and are in front right now 33-29 with 1:53 remaining in the 4th quarter. It's 3rd and 6, and an Oregon guy was wide open with nobody in front of him, and he went out of bounds. Maybe that'll end up being the best play he made all day if they can get another first down right here. And they did. And that's the game, folks. At the Orange Bowl, Oregon takes down Georgia in a little bit of a stunner, as Georgia was not only the number 1 seed, but the number 1 team in the country. Matthew Stafford, 21 of 33, 238 yards, 1 TD, and 5 picks. Man, 5 interceptions. That is ghastly. Jalen Ramsey had 21 tackles. Justin Herbert, 39 of 50, 342 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So Baylor has made a huge comeback in the fourth quarter to go up on the Alabama Crimson Tide. It is 36-29 right now, but Alabama just continues to plug their 2 running backs, including Derrick Henry, and they are just gashing the Baylor defense. Ty Simpson, the Heisman Trophy winner from last year, has multiple interceptions in this game. Derrick Henry and Alabama score to go up. So RG3 and Baylor move past Alabama. They move on to the next round. Now Robert Griffin III, or RG3, was 34 of 45, 370 passing yards, 4 TDs, and a pick. Derrick Henry with 22 carries with 140 yards, 6.3 yards per carry, and 1 TD. So Ohio State has just outlasted Michigan in this game. Michigan has made some efforts at points to cut into the Ohio State lead, but Ohio State always seems to answer back. Now down 13, Michigan will make a desperate effort with 152 left in the fourth to make a comeback. The Ohio State-Michigan rivalry is one of the biggest rivalries, not only in college football, but in all of sports. So it's 4th and 8, and this will probably be the game, and that is knocked down by an Ohio State defender. Now CJ Stroud will kneel it out. Thus Ohio State will move on. CJ Stroud, 22 of 32, 325 yards, 3 TDs, 3 picks. Aiden Hutchinson had 10 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, and only 1 sack. So with 1:43 left in the fourth quarter, Notre Dame is just going to run out the clock. They win a nail biter at 34-26 over Oregon. Justin Herbert, 33 of 50, 1 TD, 3 picks, and that kind of tells the tale right there. Marshall Faulk, 36 carries, 126 yards, 3.5 yards per carry. Alfonso Perry had 24 tackles. Manti Te'o had 16. Aaron Donald had 10. So Ohio State is down by 2 touchdowns, and CJ Stroud just thread the needle right there. But right before this, Ohio State drove down into the red zone, and CJ Stroud threw into double coverage and was picked, or else Ohio State might be within 1 touchdown right now, but instead they're down by 15 points. So let's see what he can do. So they hit the 2-minute timeout. And Ohio State scores, so they're still in this game. I believe they have all 3 timeouts left. Robert Griffin III, hands off. His tailback is taken down after a 2-yard gain. Ohio State uses one of their 3 timeout. Another handoff. What will RG3 do here? He hands it off again, but Ohio State's defense comes up big, and it'll be 4th and 7, so Baylor will be forced to punt. So Ohio State will start at their own 39-yard line. Ooh. That was almost intercepted. 3rd and 10 with 1 minute, 26 seconds left. That one is complete to Jeremiah Smith. 3rd and 10. Oh, good defense by Baylor. So this is it, folks. 4th and 10, 58 seconds left in the fourth quarter. And Ohio State completes it. They are at Baylor's 27-yard line. Oh, and what a hit by 22 for Baylor. Ohio State receiver drops it. So Stroud completes it to his tight end to get the necessary 10 yards for a first down. And that is a touchdown, Ohio State. So the Buckeyes drive down the field on 2 consecutive possessions and score touchdowns to bring it to within 2. They will have to go for 2 to tie it here, take it to overtime. And Stroud does not get in. He was so close. What a stop by Baylor. What a monumental stop. That changes the complexity of everything. That changes the game. Baylor will win this game and will head into the championship game against Notre Dame. Ohio State fans must be crushed, but Baylor fans are rejoicing. CJ Stroud threw 6 interceptions. Just doesn't seem right. Robert Griffin III threw for 328 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 picks. We are live at SoFi Field, where the number 3 Baylor takes on the number 5 and undefeated Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Again, this is on 10-minute quarters, and Notre Dame is up 69-41. It looks like Notre Dame is going to win the national championship with the help of transfers, Marshall Faulk and Aaron Donald, and their GOAT, Manti Te'o. Marshall Faulk has had a day like he used to have back at San Diego State. RG3 did his best along with the rest of the Baylor team, and look at how far they got. Marshall Faulk is 1 yard away from 300 total rushing yards today. 2027 national champs are the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Marshall Faulk, player of the game. There he is, 304 yards rushing and 5 TDs. RG3 had the 2 touchdowns, but the 5 picks, 474 yards passing. For those of you that aren't subscribers, please hit that subscribe button and hit that noti bell. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know if you think we should do a junior season. And I appreciate you guys watching. Just know that you're made for a purpose. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Take care, guys.